You're too emotionally draining. I miss how easy things were with my ex, she said while I paid for her therapy. So I stopped paying and let her go back to easy. Now she's texting me from his couch, crying. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. When Samantha first moved into my apartment, she called it her safe place. She'd been through a rough breakup a few months before we met, and she told me right away that her ex, Tyler, had messed her up emotionally. I believed her. I didn't question the late-night crying, the sudden silence during dinner, or the way she'd flinch if I raised my voice even slightly. I just held her when she needed it and gave her space when she didn't. I wanted to be different for her, steady, patient, understanding. When she said she couldn't afford therapy, I told her not to worry about it and covered the cost myself. It wasn't cheap, but I figured if it helped her heal, it was worth it. Every Wednesday night, I'd drive her to her sessions, wait in the car, and take her out for dinner after. I didn't mind. That hour in the parking lot was nothing compared to what she said she'd endured before me. At first, she seemed grateful. She'd text me things like, "I don't know what I'd do without you," or leave notes on my desk. "Thanks for being my calm." But over time, something shifted. Gratitude turned into expectation. Then expectation turned into resentment. It started small. She'd roll her eyes if I asked about her therapy sessions. One night, I asked if she was still finding them helpful. She sighed. "You don't have to make everything about feelings, Ethan. Can't we just exist without analyzing everything?" I didn't argue. I just nodded, thinking maybe she was tired. Then came the comparisons. At first, they were subtle, harmless anecdotes about Tyler. "He used to make me laugh at the dumbest stuff," or "He never got mad when I needed space." I told myself not to take it personally. Everyone compares new relationships to old ones, right? But one night, while we were cooking dinner, she crossed a line. "You know what's crazy?" she said, stirring the sauce. "Things with Tyler were so effortless. We just clicked. With you, everything feels heavy." I stopped chopping onions and looked at her. "Heavy how?" She shrugged. "I don't know. You're just emotionally draining sometimes. Like, I can't relax around you because you're always trying to fix something." I didn't know what to say. I was literally paying for her therapy because she said she wanted to fix herself. I asked quietly, "Do you really think I'm draining?" She didn't even hesitate. "Yeah, I miss when things were easy. You care too much. It's exhausting." That hit harder than I expected. I just stood there, holding the knife, staring at the cutting board. I wanted to tell her how many nights I'd stayed awake next to her while she cried. How many times I'd taken calls from her mom when Samantha disappeared for hours after panic attacks. How I'd push my own stress aside so she could have one less thing to worry about. But I didn't say any of it. Instead, I said, "I didn't know caring could be exhausting." She laughed, not mean, but dismissive. "That's exactly what I mean. You turn everything into a big emotional moment." Then she went back to stirring the sauce. Like nothing happened. After that, I started to notice things I hadn't before. She kept her phone face down. Her girls' nights turned into late returns home, usually with some vague excuse about needing to clear her head. When I asked who she was with, she'd get defensive, accusing me of being controlling. One night, I heard her on the balcony, whispering into the phone. When she came back inside, she looked startled to see me awake. "Who was that?" I asked. "Work friend," she said too quickly. "You don't need to know everything, Ethan. It's just work stuff." I let it go, but something in her tone, that mix of guilt and annoyance, stuck with me. For the next week, I replayed that emotionally draining line in my head. I started questioning everything. Was I really the problem? Was I too intense? Too invested? But every time I tried to detach a little, she accused me of being distant. "You're weird lately," she said one night, scrolling on her phone. "Don't get cold on me now." That was the moment it clicked. Nothing I did would ever be enough. If I cared, I was suffocating. If I stopped caring, I was cold. So I stopped trying to win. I just watched her. How she'd smile at texts she wouldn't show me. How she'd start wearing the perfume she once told me reminded her of Tyler. How she'd say, "You should learn to loosen up like he used to." I didn't confront her. Not yet. But I knew then that something was ending. Maybe it had been ending for a while, and I just didn't want to see it. When she finally said, "I miss how easy things were with my ex," it didn't even surprise me. It just confirmed what I already knew. I looked at her across the couch and said quietly, "Then maybe you should go find easy again." She laughed, assuming I was being sarcastic. But I wasn't. Not anymore. After that night, something in me went quiet. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't even ask who she was really texting. I just started paying attention. When someone shows you where their loyalty lies, you don't need proof. You just need patience. Samantha acted like nothing had happened. She'd kiss me goodbye in the mornings, still call me babe, still ask me to pick her up after work. But her affection was mechanical now, like she was following a routine she'd already mentally checked out of. Her phone was glued to her hand, always tilted away. Every time I walked by, she'd minimize her screen. Once, I caught a glimpse of a message preview, just a first name, Tyler. I didn't ask. I just noted it. A few days later, she came home late again. She tossed her purse on the table and sighed dramatically. "I had to grab dinner with a coworker," she said before I even asked. "My therapist said I should socialize more. Stop depending on you so much." "Who was the coworker?" I asked casually. Her eyes narrowed. "Are you seriously interrogating me right now? It's exhausting, Ethan. This is what I mean. You always assume the worst." I stared at her calm. "You're the one who said I'm draining. I'm just trying not to ask questions." She rolled her eyes. "God, you twist everything. No wonder I feel suffocated." Then she walked off to the bedroom, leaving me standing in the kitchen. That night, she slept facing the wall. The next morning, her phone alarm went off early. She got dressed quietly, put on makeup, and told me she was grabbing coffee with a friend before therapy. I offered to drive her. Habit, I guess. But she snapped. "I can handle it, Ethan. You don't need to babysit me." So I let her go. She came home later than usual, smelling faintly of cologne I didn't own. I didn't ask. But that weekend, the truth came to me anyway. A mutual friend, Lauren, texted me. "Hey, is everything okay between you and Sam?" I replied, "Why?" Lauren hesitated before sending a photo. Samantha and Tyler at a cafe. They were leaning close, laughing, her hand on his. The timestamp was from that morning. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I just said, "Got it," and put my phone down. I didn't call her, didn't confront her, didn't even wait for her to get home. That night, while she was still out, I sat at the kitchen table and canceled the auto payment for her therapy sessions. Then I opened my laptop and found a short-term rental 2 neighborhoods away. By midnight, I'd signed the lease. The next day, while she was at work, I packed my things. I didn't take everything, just what I'd brought into the relationship. A few shirts, my books, my tools. The apartment was in my name, but I didn't care. Let her keep it. Before I left, I wrote a note on the kitchen counter. "You said I was draining. I hope this feels lighter." Then I left my keys beside it and walked out. That night, my phone lit up nonstop. Missed calls, voice messages, texts that started angry and turned panicked. "Samantha, Ethan, what the hell is this?" "Samantha, this is childish. Are you really ghosting me?" "Samantha, I just needed closure with Tyler. My therapist said it was healthy." "Samantha, you're overreacting. Can we please talk like adults?" "Samantha, please call me. I didn't mean for things to go this way." I didn't answer any of them. The next morning, she showed up at my new place. I knew she would. She knocked for almost 5 minutes before I finally opened the door. She looked furious. "So that's it? You just leave? No conversation?" I leaned against the doorframe. "You already had your conversation with Tyler." Her face flushed. "It wasn't like that. We were just talking. You always jump to conclusions." I tilted my head. "Then why'd you hide it?" She hesitated. "Because you'd freak out." I smiled slightly. "Then I guess I saved you the trouble." She glared at me for a moment. Then her tone softened. "Ethan, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't mean to hurt you." I nodded. "I know." She blinked. That's it. That's it." I closed the door gently. No yelling. No dramatic goodbye. Just silence. That was the last time I saw her for months. And honestly, for the first time in a long while, I slept through the night. The first few weeks alone felt quiet. Not peaceful at first, just quiet in that heavy, echoing way where every sound reminds you of what's missing. No keys jingling at the door, no hairdryer running at 7 a.m., no passive-aggressive sighs from the couch. But then something shifted. I started sleeping better. I cooked for myself. Cleaned because I wanted to, not because she'd guilt-trip me for leaving a mug in the sink. Every day, The silence stopped feeling empty and started feeling clean. Meanwhile, I knew she'd reach out again eventually. People like Samantha always do when they realize the control they had doesn't work anymore. And right on schedule, 2 weeks later, she texted me. "Samantha, hey, can we talk? Just one last time, please." I ignored it. She followed up the next day. "Samantha, you don't have to be so cold, Ethan. You know I'm not a bad person." 3 days later, I got another one. "Samantha, Tyler and I didn't work out. It was a mistake. I just needed to figure myself out." I didn't reply. I didn't even feel angry anymore, just tired of the same script. Every excuse had the same flavor. She wasn't wrong, just misunderstood. But curiosity got the better of me. One night, I checked her Instagram. She'd wiped every picture of us, replaced them with self-love quotes and filtered selfies. A few weeks after that, she started posting vague captions about healing from narcissists. Then, suddenly, her account went private. It didn't take a genius to guess things with Tyler had imploded. Lauren later filled in the blanks. Apparently, Samantha had confided in her that Tyler wasn't emotionally mature enough and that he didn't take her therapy seriously. In other words, he didn't let her control him, either. According to Lauren, it ended badly. Tyler told her point blank that she weaponized vulnerability and treated people like experiments. When I heard that, I just nodded. Sounds about right. By then, I'd settled into my new apartment. I'd gotten a promotion at work, picked up a hobby or two, woodworking, running, stuff I hadn't done in years because every minute of my old life had revolved around managing Samantha's moods. It was wild how light my days felt now. How much space there was in my head once I wasn't constantly trying to keep someone else happy. Then, about 2 months after the breakup, she showed up again. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was sanding a table I'd been building when I heard a knock. When I opened the door, there she was, standing there in a hoodie, hair messy, eyes red. "Can I come in?" she asked softly. "No," I said. She flinched but didn't move. "I'm not here to fight. I need to explain." I sighed. "Sam, you already did. Repeatedly. You just didn't like that I finally listened." She looked down. "I made a mistake. He wasn't what I thought. I thought I needed excitement, but I just needed stability. I just needed you." Her voice cracked. Real tears this time. I waited for the usual sting in my chest, but it never came. I just felt detached, like watching a rerun of a show I'd already seen too many times. "I'm happy you figured that out," I said calmly. She took a shaky breath. "Can we please try again? I've changed. My therapist helped me see things more clearly. I know I pushed you away." I almost laughed. The same therapist I was paying for? That broke her composure. "God, you're so cruel now," she snapped. "You used to care about me." "I did," I said quietly. "That's the problem. I cared enough for both of us. And you used that as proof that I was weak." "I didn't." "You did," I cut in. "You wanted someone to blame every time you were unhappy. You found that in me. And when I stopped letting you, you called it suffocating." She stared at me, speechless. For once, there was no counterattack. No therapist quote. No buzzword defense. Just silence. I nodded toward the hallway. "You should go, Sam." She hesitated, then turned away. Before leaving, she whispered, "I really did love you, you know." I didn't answer. When the door closed, I stood there for a moment, letting the quiet settle again. Then I went back to sanding my table. Because the truth was, she didn't love me. She loved having someone who would never leave. And now, without that, she didn't know who she was. But that wasn't my problem anymore. About a month after that doorstep visit, I got a call from Lauren again. "Hey, you're not going to believe this," she said, her voice somewhere between annoyed and amused. "Samantha's been showing up at my yoga studio crying about Tyler." I chuckled. "Still?" "Oh yeah," she sighed. "Apparently, he cheated on her with one of her friends. And get this, she's saying you broke her first, so she didn't know how to love properly." I leaned back in my chair, smiling faintly. Classic Sam. Always the victim, even in other people's disasters. Lauren paused. "You okay hearing all this?" "Better than ever," I said. "Honestly, I feel sorry for Tyler's next target." The funny thing was, karma didn't hit her all at once. It came piece by piece, in small humiliations. First, she got kicked out of the apartment she'd moved into with Tyler because her name wasn't on the lease. Then, her new life coaching clients started canceling. Word had spread that she'd been giving relationship advice while dating two men at once. Her whole persona started cracking. That carefully curated self-love queen image online, gone. The captions turned bitter. Posts about betrayal, heartbreak, being used. And every few days, a quote about forgiveness that was clearly aimed at me. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. Watching from a distance was enough. She was unraveling publicly, slowly, painfully, and it had nothing to do with revenge. I had simply stopped playing my part in her drama. Then one afternoon, she texted again. "Samantha, I miss who we were. Not the fighting, just us. I know I messed up. Can we please talk?" I stared at the message for a while. Then I put my phone down and went back to my work. 2 days later, she tried calling. I didn't pick up. That weekend, she showed up again, this time outside my office building. I was walking to my car when I heard her voice behind me. "Ethan, please, just give me 5 minutes." I stopped and turned. She looked worse than before, tired eyes, makeup smudged, like she'd been crying for hours. "I've said everything I need to say," I told her evenly. "Please, don't be like this," she pleaded. I was lost, okay? Tyler made me feel like I wasn't enough. I thought you'd moved on already." "I did," I said simply. She blinked. "So that's it? After everything? After years together? You ended it," I reminded her. "You told me love shouldn't feel like an obligation. You told me to let you be free." I just listened. Her face twisted. "You're so cold now. What happened to the man who used to care? He finally started caring about himself." She shook her head, angry tears forming. "You don't get it. Tyler used me. He lied. He said he loved me, and then, Sam," I interrupted, "you lied too." "The difference is, I learned from it." Her expression collapsed, somewhere between fury and shame. "I just want to fix things. Please. I can be better this time." I tilted my head. "You said the same thing about me once." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Just silence and shallow breathing. "I have a meeting," I said quietly. "Take care of yourself." And I walked away. I could feel her staring at me, waiting for me to turn around, to soften, to give her even a sliver of the man who used to console her. But that man was gone. That night, she posted another quote. "Sometimes, we lose the people we love because we hurt them before they had the chance to understand us." I didn't even roll my eyes this time. I just smiled, muted her profile, and went to sleep. By then, I had something else to focus on, my own life. A new role at work, a small business idea I'd been developing, and a clarity I'd never had before. No more walking on eggshells. No more being the emotional punching bag for someone who mistook selfishness for independence. And the best part? Every day that passed, I thought about her less. The silence that used to feel lonely had turned into something else entirely. Peace. 3 more months passed. By then, Samantha was little more than background noise in my life. An echo I barely noticed anymore. I'd been promoted again, started a small renovation business on the side, and moved into a better apartment. Life had a rhythm now. Simple, steady mine. Then one Friday afternoon, Lauren called. "You're not going to like this," she said carefully. "Samantha's been asking around if you'll be at Kevin's engagement party next weekend." I laughed. "Why?" She said she wants to apologize in person. She swears she's changed. "Apologize," I repeated flatly. "Right? And let me guess, she wants everyone to see it." Lauren sighed. "Pretty much. She's been trying to repair her image. Half the friend group's tired of her drama." I thought about skipping the party altogether. But then I decided, no, I wasn't going to hide from my own social circle because of her. So I went. The party was held at a rooftop lounge downtown. When I walked in, a few heads turned, not out of drama, but because I hadn't seen some of these people in months. Everyone was friendly, relaxed. It actually felt good to be there. And of course, about an hour in, she showed up. Samantha, wearing a white dress that was a little too formal for the occasion, smile too wide to be genuine. She spotted me immediately and froze. Then, pretending confidence, she made her way over. "Ethan," she said softly, "wow, you look good." "Thanks," I said, keeping my tone neutral. There was an awkward silence. She looked around, clearly aware people were watching. "Can we talk somewhere private?" I gestured to the balcony. "Sure." We stepped outside, the city humming below. She folded her arms, trying to look composed. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me again," she began, "but I needed to tell you in person." I've been doing a lot of work on myself. Therapy, journaling, reflection. I understand now how badly I treated you. I nodded slightly. Okay. She blinked. That's it. Just okay? What else do you want me to say, Sam? I just thought, maybe, we could start over. Even just as friends. I don't expect things to go back to how they were, but maybe someday. I cut her off gently. I'm glad you're working on yourself. But we don't have a someday, Samantha. Not anymore. Her voice broke a little. You really mean that? Yes, I said calmly. Because I finally realized something. Peace isn't something you find in another person. It's something you stop letting the wrong people take from you. She stared at me, speechless. I could see her composure cracking, panic flickering behind her eyes. She stammered. I made one mistake. One. And you won't even try to forgive me. It wasn't one mistake, I said quietly. It was years of small ones. Lies, guilt, manipulation. You just didn't notice them piling up because I kept cleaning up after them. Tears welled up, but I stayed steady. I'm not angry, I added. I just don't want that life back. You taught me what I'll never accept again. That's your impact on me, and honestly, I'm thankful for that. Her lower lip trembled. You sound so different now. I am different, I said. You told me once that love shouldn't feel like an obligation. You were right. And now I don't owe you anything. Not love, not comfort, not closure. She looked away, blinking fast. You really don't care anymore, do you? I gave a small smile. I wish you peace, Sam. But no, I don't. She wiped her eyes, turned sharply, and walked back inside. I stayed on the balcony for a while, watching the city lights. Inside, laughter and music filled the air again, but I didn't feel heavy like before. I felt weightless. Later that night, I noticed she'd left one last message before blocking herself out of my life for good. Samantha, you'll miss me one day. People like me don't come twice. I stared at it for a second, then deleted the entire thread. People like her don't come twice. She was right about that. Because I'd finally learned how to recognize them and how to walk away the first time. And that, more than anything, was the best revenge. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.